How's it going, everyone? I'm CitrusTV's entertainment director, Liam Crowley. Now, over the past 6 weeks, our typical studio show, Unpeeled, has continued our entertainment news coverage through the form of a podcast remotely. Now, with this week being the final week of classes and what would have been the final week of on-campus coverage at Citrus TV, we thought it appropriate to dedicate this semester's final episode to the senior class. Tonight, you will hear from producers, reporters, and hosts about how Unpeeled helped them grow professionally and also personally, how Unpeeled created relationships that will last a lifetime. So, without further ado, for one final time this semester, Unpeeled starts right now. Joining us now, he has produced for the show, he has been on air for the show as our film beat reporter this year. He's done so much for Unpeeled behind the scenes that you might not know about. This is Andrew Goldberg. Andrew, thank you so much for joining me on this senior special.
Of course, thanks for talking me up like that. I appreciate it. It sounds great. I'll have to add this to my resume.
Absolutely. And we're here to talk about all good things Unpeeled and everything you've helped contribute. But I want to start off by just understanding what Unpeeled and Citrus TV means to you as a whole. So can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Of course, I mean, Citrus TV means a lot to me. It's something that I've been involved with really since my freshman year, where I was trying to find my place. And, throughout the years, I've met a lot of great people who have really given me a lot of good advice, not only with, how to go on with my academic career, but also just to help my college experience as a whole be that much better. So I really, thank everyone who's been sort of a mentor to me these last few years. And Citrus has given me, great friendships, great experiences, a lot to be proud of, and just something that I can look forward to every week.
And now I want to talk about how, Citrus obviously has shaped your life in a lot of ways and helped you hone those skills and form those relationships. How has Unpeeled specifically impacted your college experience?
Unpeeled has been such a special thing for me these last few years because I initially started in the sports department, which is great too, but sports is very popular. It always has been. And when I first started, I had a hard time trying to sort of find my way in that department. And someone eventually introduced me to Unpeeled, and I met our old EP, Jess Maggio, for the first time, and she helped welcome me into the Unpeeled family. And I felt right away that I was able to contribute and become a writer and someone who had real say with where the show could go. And I could see the potential it had to really skyrocket. And from that point on, I knew I just wanted to commit all into this show. And since then, so many more people have come onto our show, both as on-air talent and behind-the-scenes help. And it's made me just so proud to see how far our show has come from almost the brink of being taken off the air to now 2 times in a row the best entertainment show in the whole Citrus TV department. So Unpeeled specifically brings a lot of pride to me and is something that I think is going to continue to be great for a number of years.
And you mentioned those themes about pride and how proud you are of Unpeeled for, the accolades and coming full circle from, almost being canceled to now being back-to-back Best Entertainment Show of the Year. What has been some of your proudest work that you've contributed? I know you've done stuff behind the scenes and also on camera. Were there any specific moments that you were especially proud of?
I mean, there are a lot of moments because I have, like you said, done a lot of different roles. I'm proud of the writing that I've done because it really helped me overall as a writer become more detail oriented and learning how to write for different mediums. But also, I guess packages specifically, that's something that I never really was especially good at before. I'm still not great with the camera, but it taught me to sort of go out of my comfort zone and seek out stories journalistically and, not be afraid to ask questions to people and go where the story is. That's something that BDJ students do regularly, but for me, it's something that is a little outside of my comfort zone. But Citrus gave me the opportunity to go find really cool stories happening in the Syracuse area, and now I feel more comfortable doing that going forward. So that's something I can definitely look back on fondly.
And looking back on just Unpeeled as a whole, there's so many great moments from just being on air to the post show meetings to the pitch meetings. to everything in between, what's the one thing you're going to miss the most about Unpeeled?
I mean, this is the typical answer, but it's true. It's the people. I mean, the people you meet become very close to you because you're seeing them every week in meetings, working with them on stories, on camera, behind the scenes, before the show, after the show. And they end up being some of your best friends in college. And having that support system where you can talk to people every week and know they have your back and know you'll support them in their career and vice versa. And just the fact that you have people who are so similar to you and you can joke around with and hang out with. It's a very special thing and something I'm going to miss a lot going forward. So I hope I can still stay in touch with everyone and just continue to support everyone as they move forward to college.
Well, Andrew, I don't think I could have said it any better myself. Thank you so much, not only for joining me on this show, I've said it to everyone, but for your contributions to Unpeeled. You've definitely left your mark in the most positive way possible. And I mean, you talked about what you're going to miss. We're definitely going to miss you next year. So thank you so much.
Thanks. That means a lot. I appreciate it.
Andrew, thank you so much for really taking me under your wing at Unpeeled. You really showed me the ropes, and I am so grateful for that. And I'm very excited to see what your future has in store. I know you're going to do amazing things. Best of luck.
Andrew Goldberg, I'm going to sincerely miss you. You did so much for the show, reporter, producer, and of course, after the show, a lot of fun times. So you will be missed, but you set the path forward for us so well.
Andrew, for always being so helpful as a co-producer. Working with you was such a pleasure. You're always willing to help with something, and we would have never been able to get the scripts out every week without you. So thank you. We're gonna miss you so much.
Andrew Goldberg. This is gonna be tough. Thank you so much for being such a great fellow producer to work with. For the past year, you're a really great writer and a great worker. You had brought a lot of great things to the table.
Andrew, undoubtedly you're gonna make it big and move to LA, so see you soon.
You are one of the nicest, most genuine people I've ever met in my entire life. And that alone is gonna get you far. Not only that, but you're super talented. You're super passionate about what you do. So I'm so excited, man, to see what's next for you. And looking forward to staying in touch, my friend.
Andrew, your positivity is contagious. You have done so much hard work for the show, all the late nights at Citrus, but you've never complained once, and it's really just made our lives so much easier and so much better, and the show really won't be the same without you. We're gonna miss you a lot next year.
Welcome back. I am here with another former host. It pains me to say that, but another former host in Meagan Reynolds. Meagan has been an integral part to the Unpeeled team in all the years that she served at CitrusTV, and I know she has some great things to talk about with her memories of Unpeeled. So Meagan, how are you doing in this crazy situation?
Oh gosh. I mean, I'm hanging in there. It's been kind of hard, not being back at school. I was excited to finish out my senior career, but we don't always get what we want. So I'm making the best of it with my family, slowly moving out of my apartment up at school and just now trying to look ahead. So
for sure. I mean, I know there's lots to look forward to, but I want to kind of go backpedal and talk about Unpeeled the past 4 years. So what does the show of Unpeeled and just CitrusTV as a whole mean to you?
Oh gosh. God, I can't even put into words what Unpeeled means to me. I remember starting out as a little freshman. I was terrified to join. I remember being behind the camera, and I never thought that I was someone who could go on screen and do the things that, report and do all these things. I never thought I had that confidence, and I'll never forget, reporter auditions came up and host auditions came up. I was like, I don't think I could be a host. Let me try being a reporter. And I remember I got it. And just from then on, I fell in love with the show. And I remember Alyssa Candiati, who graduated in 2018. She's a good friend of mine, actually. And she always was encouraging me. She's like, you have what it takes to be a host. And you know that. You just need to push yourself. And so I finally did it. And I can't even put into words how much confidence Unpeeled has gave me in myself. And you feel the love when you're in the Unpeeled room. And I'm going to miss it so much. I'm going to miss that environment. And I hope whatever job I take has that same kind of family oriented environment.
You mentioned a lot of the good memories from Unpeeled, because so like rich with that. Every Wednesday, there's new shows, there's new meetings, there's just every aspect, there's something memorable that you can take away from it. But if you had to pick just one,
oh gosh,
favorite Unpeeled memory.
I think it had to be when I beat Paura in was it basketball or no? I beat him in both basketball and football. I am the reigning Unpeeled Super Bowl champ, and I plan on holding on to that title. But I got to host with Paura and Chris Sachi, and they were both incredible hosts. And they always ask me, "Who's the better host? Who's the better co-host?" I'm like, I'm not answering that question, and I still to this day will never answer that question. But they both actually become very good friends of mine through Unpeeled, and I'm definitely going to miss having that banter with them on and off air.
For sure. And one thing I want to ask, because you mentioned about just your future careers and what you pursue, how has Unpeeled impacted you, prepared you for the real world?
Unpeeled has really made me confident in my skills, both on and behind the scenes, in writing and in my ability to be in front of the camera. So that's something that I'm taking into consideration when applying for careers. And it's just something that now I know I'm good at it and I know I can do it. And so it's made me realize that I can really do whatever I want to do. And I think that's definitely affected how I approach interviews as well. I feel like I have a better ability to speak to, it's definitely improved my public speaking skills a lot. But I'm just hoping to, go far in whatever I do. And, obviously right now it's not the best time to be applying for jobs, but I just got Unpeeled has showed me that when you're in an obstacle, you just got to keep moving. You got to work through the problem. So.
For sure. And one thing I want to wrap with, because it's sentimental, but I feel like we got to ask all the seniors, is what's that one aspect of Unpeeled that you're going to miss the most?
Oh, goodness. I don't even know. I feel like it's our post-show meetings. There's something about the pre-show meeting. You're all in game mode. You're camera 1, camera 2. Everyone's got to be in their spots. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's how the show's gonna run. But there's something about that post-show where everyone gathers around our big table, and whether it was Maialie when she was the most recent EP, but whoever it was, it was something like, hey, we did this together, and it came out freaking awesome. And there's just something so heartwarming about creating something really great with a great group of people. And I don't know, it's just a rush, you know what I mean? And then seeing the episode emailed out, it's just like, hey, look, we did that. And so I think it's the post-show meeting that I'm really gonna miss.
There is something special about that tangibilization of we
Mm-hmm.
on Sunday and now it's a real thing on Wednesday. It's pretty cool. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for your segment. Meagan, Reynolds, thank you so much, not only for joining me on this episode, but for all of your contributions to Unpeeled. We're going to be at the studio.
Thanks, Liam. I will be back. I'm going to be back, and I'm going to sign that alumni wall, and it's going to be like I never left.
Hey, Meagan, first of all, sorry for spelling your name wrong a few times as a producer. My bad. But in all seriousness, thank you for being so much fun to work with. I mean, you're always willing to playfully jab about that with me whenever I made a mistake like that, but pointed it out. You're one of the day oneers, kind of like Maialie from the old guard. You brought the best aspects of the old version of Unpeeled, and we're willing to work with a new one.
Meagan, you truly are a shining star at Unpeeled. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for this show, and I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. I know wherever you go, you're gonna make it shine.
Meagan Reynolds, my co-host, we had so much fun on air on Unpeeled, and we had that chemistry really because we just ragged on each other before and after the show. We went on, it was just like a normal conversation between us. I'm really going to miss you. I can't wait to see you again. And when you come back up to Syracuse, I know you have plans to wreak havoc, and I'll see you then.
You have been a part of Unpeeled for as long as I can remember. I'm really going to miss you next year. Having one of those familiar faces around always feels really good, and I really appreciate everything that you've done for the show, and good luck in the future.
We have another senior in the building. That's right. He has been hosting Unpeeled since before I joined. This guy has been all over the show as a host, and he's been doing great work for us for many years. I am with Justin Paura. Justin, how you doing, my man?
Hey, it's doing good, man. And yeah, I remember when you first burst upon the scene in the Unpeeled studios, and always such a great boost of high energy. And now look, the big man in charge. So really happy to be doing this.
I appreciate the kind words, but this is about you. This is about the senior class. We're making sure that you guys get sent off with the proper acknowledgments. And that's what I want to do. I want to talk to you about your Unpeeled experience. And we'll start with just that. What does Unpeeled and Citrus TV as a whole mean to you?
Unpeeled particularly means a lot to me. When I first started getting involved with Citrus TV, I always thought that I wanted to be, big time sports guy, do all the on the bench, Q's countdown, stuff like that. But I feel I never really got my opportunity there. I just didn't feel like a good fit. Not that, I didn't get along with people or anything there, but it was just always, a bit uncomfortable for me to get in that situation and really feel a part of that team. Then I had the opportunity to try out with Unpeeled as a beat reporter, and I wanted to do sports. I wound up being the on-campus beat. I was a bit hesitant to accept it, but I wound up doing it, thinking about the reps. And then it was just an instant connection. Once I got there for the first Wednesday show, I fit right in. Everyone was super inviting. And they really gave me opportunities. Ever since that one semester on the on-campus beat, I moved to a host and a sports reporter. And then this past year, I was a full-time host, which was really, really awesome. And I made a bunch of friendships that are going to last a lifetime. I had a couple of awesome co-hosts and Meagan and Kerri. And, it was just the one thing I looked forward to every Wednesday night was watching an Unpeeled show. And I'm grateful for that forever.
100%. I mean, Unpeeled, as you mentioned, the way you can move up the ranks from beat reporter to host so fast is phenomenal. And it sounds like you had a lot of great times, a lot of great memories with Unpeeled. But if you could name just one, what's your favorite Unpeeled memory?
This is a tough one. One that I always look back to was last year. Last year was a crazy bachelor year. It was Colton's bachelor year. And my first semester as a host, it was Jess Maggio, the former EP of the show, came up to me and was like, after Colton jumped the fence, it's like, hey, we want you to do something like that. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm in a full suit. I don't really want to wreck it. But you know what? I'm ready to do whatever. So we did a whole opening montage, basically, of me hopping a little barrier and then running into the studio to get ready for our big Bachelor episode. And it was a super fun thing. It was really creative. And, it just embodied the creativity and the fun aspect of this show that makes it so different than everything else on Citrus. And, it got me out of my element a little, but it really showed me that, you can really just be yourself on air, do a lot of cool things, and it made for great TV, and it was a ton of fun. Got a lot of laughs.
For sure. And one thing I want to end on, because I think it's important to talk about, is that aspect of once you're on in the real world, we do all this stuff at Citrus because it will kind of be parallel to our experiences in the real world. But the reality is a lot of those relationships, a lot of those friendships, they might not follow you into the real world. We all work at different places. What's that one aspect you're going to miss the most about Unpeeled?
Yeah, I think it's definitely just the group of people who are involved. I have a huge list of people that I met through that show that I wouldn't have met otherwise in other aspects of Citrus TV. And, just being able to have a show and then maybe, if you're of age like me, go to Fagan's that night, see those people again, and then talk about the show, talk about life, have those memories with people. They'll never leave you. I've already stayed in contact with so many people from the Unpeeled family since my college career was unfortunately cut short. And I know that those connections and relationships are going to last a lifetime. So I'm not worried about that, but it's definitely going to be what I miss the most out of this show.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Justin, Paura, thank you so much for joining me on this senior show, and I hope you're doing well, and best of luck to whatever you choose to pursue, and don't forget your friends back at Citrus TV.
I'll never forget it, man. Thank you for everything, doing a great job, and I'll hear from you soon.
Oh boy, Justin, Paura, man, I've had so much fun with you at Unpeeled. We kind of came through at the same time. We both did the sports at one point. The sports talks were so memorable, the times before, after the show. I'm going to miss you so much, man. Your future is incredibly bright. I can't wait to see when our paths cross again.
Gonna miss you, man. I really do mean that. We're really gonna miss you. You know, you're so good at what you do, sports talk, Unpeeled, whatever it is. So I can't wait to follow your career, man, and stay in touch with you. But you will be missed by me and pretty much everyone that has known you at Newhouse and at Citrus.
Justin, I cannot think of a time that I've been down on Unpeeled where you haven't made somebody laugh hysterically. Your smile is absolutely contagious, and you really know how to light up a room as soon as you walk in. I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors, and stay classy.
Justin, your sense of humor and your charisma will be missed so much next year. I know a lot of underclassmen look up to you, and the show won't be the same without you, and I'm really gonna miss you.
Oh, you've done a full range of things with Unpeeled, and we're gonna miss that out of you. We're gonna miss that kind of glue guy attitude that you had, and wherever you go, that's gonna take you far. So thank you so much for bringing it Unpeeled, and you're gonna do great things. See you, buddy.
All right, guys, I am now joined by another senior, a host for Unpeeled. She's been with the show for so many years, starting as a beat reporter, moving up to a host this year. Kerri McAneney. Kerri, thank you so much for joining me on this special edition of Unpeeled.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for putting this together. We're all very happy, I know, all the seniors.
Absolutely, and I wanted to take this episode to celebrate the senior class and talk about your guys' favorite memories with Unpeeled. But I feel like a good question to start, as I've started with everyone, is what does Unpeeled and just Citrus TV as a whole mean to you?
Yeah, first off, that's a really good question. To me, Unpeeled means like family, because I've gotten to know so many of the people on the staff, so many of the beat reporters, so many of the other seniors, and so many of the freshmen too. I feel like Unpeeled, unlike other shows, not to say anything bad about them, they really give you the chance to get to know each other and also to grow with each other, which is very important. Because I just think it's amazing to see not only how much I've grown, but to see how much the other sophomores or juniors have grown. So to me, it's all about family, and a family that grows together stays together, I think.
And with family comes a lot of great times and a lot of great memories. And I hate to put you on the spot here, but because I feel like everyone's had so many great memories. If you could pick one Unpeeled memory as your favorite, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, there really have been so many amazing ones. I did some cool stuff when I was a beat reporter, but I think some of my favorite memories were from this year when I was a host, when I was just hanging out before the shows with my co-host. It was Landon last semester and it's Justin this semester. Just those few seconds before you go on air are just so electrifying, but also I feel like it's the most real that you can ever, like the realest moment that you could ever have with someone. So I just love those little moments where we're just dancing along to the Unpeeled theme song, and we just are so happy, and we all care so much about the show. So I think just those moments right before the show are some of my favorite memories.
Absolutely, and all of the elements of Unpeeled, even beyond what you just see on screen, whether it's behind the scenes or at the pitch meetings, it all comes together. And as you said, it makes some great memories, some great relationships. And unfortunately, because the seniors are graduating and you're moving on to new pastures and everything, there's a lot that you're probably going to miss. What's the one thing you're going to miss the most about Unpeeled?
I think what I'm going to miss the most is something I've noticed over my 4 years at Syracuse University is just how difficult it is to find people that you connect with and to find people who care about you and what you do. So I think especially going out there right now in the middle of everything, it's going to be hard to find people that I connect with and who care about me and care about what I do. So obviously I'm going to miss the people, Liam. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss all the hosts. I'm going to miss all the beat reporters. I just think finding people who care about you and what you do is so important and so unique. So it's going to be so hard to find afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. The relationships that we make at Unpeeled, at Citrus TV, at Syracuse in general are to last a lifetime. And I think that's what makes it really special. I do want to wrap this up by looking towards the future, because obviously there's big things on the horizon for all of our seniors, with whatever they pursue. What has been one thing or many things Unpeeled has taught you in your time with the show that you're going to bring into your future career?
I think what Unpeeled taught me, like, we learned so much amazing things inside the classroom, outside the classroom, but the thing that Unpeeled taught me really is to remember that there are other people involved in the work that you do, so you have to do your best, not just for yourself, but for the sake of everyone else. Because if I mess up on air or if my package doesn't play right, that gives the executive producer or the different producers a headache, and it stresses them out so much. And I think that's what Unpeeled really taught me, that you're not in it alone, and you have to do the best not only for yourself but for other people.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Kerri McAneney, thank you so much for joining me on this senior episode, and thank you just for everything you've done for Unpeeled. We're going to miss you so much next year.
Kerri! Oh my goodness, the stories and moments we've shared, there are so many, all the way from being buckhorns to orange women. It's been a wild ride with you, my friend. I am so excited to see what your future brings, and best of luck.
Kerri Mac, I am going to miss you so much. Your infectious, positive energy, the smiles, the laughs that you brought to everybody. Not only that, but you killed it on air as well. I can't wait to see what you do in the future, because with all that you've done for Unpeeled, I know it's so bright for you.
Hey Kerri, congratulations. I can't wait to hear you on the radio, and don't forget me when you're famous.
I just wanted to thank you so much for being such an amazing anchor and someone that I've always felt like I could talk to, just hanging out before show started. And I think you're one of the most interesting and funny people that I've ever met, and I'm so thankful to have gotten to know you and can't wait to see what you do in the future.
Kerri, what's going on? I'm going to miss you so much. It's been such a blast finally getting to work with you after all these years of knowing you. This was our first show that we worked on together, so I was so excited for that.
Kerri, you are one of the funniest people. You could make an entire room laugh with just one comment or one little glance.
Your vivacious personality, your liveliness, it's gonna be missed. That energy on air is something that you really brought every single time that you were on air, and I'm really gonna miss you a lot.
All right, guys, welcome back to our senior episode of Unpeeled, our senior special, as we like to call it. I'm here with a beat reporter who's worked with Unpeeled for years. He has brought sports coverage. He has brought, I hate to say it, but he bested me in a wrestling debate. I know, still not over it. But we are here with Mason Horodyski. Mason, thank you so much for joining me on this Unpeeled senior edition.
Glad to be here. Obviously, got to apologize to everyone out there watching right now. I do have my quarantine scruff going right now. Didn't have enough time to fix that today, but we're just going to run with it. Hey, it's the last show. Can't get fired. I mean, I'm going to be a senior. I'm graduating. I'm out of here.
I'm right here with you. I'm growing out my whatever makeshift quarantine beard I got going on. I'm not too proud of it, but, we're going with the flow. But I want to start this off by kind of reminiscing on Unpeeled as a whole and just getting your overall thoughts of what does Unpeeled, and even greater than that, CitrusTV, mean to you?
Ooh, wow. I mean, that's a big question. Let me tell you a story. So I was very much ready in my junior year to stop pursuing an on-camera career. I was very successful with what I was doing in the sports department. I ended up creating my own show in the sports department called No Pulp, which I'm sure you're familiar with. So I was pretty much set with saying, look, I'm not really getting opportunities on camera in sports. That's what I want to do. But if it's not going to work out and I'm very successful with what I want to do with producing, so be it. I'll be a producer. All of a sudden, I got an email one day saying, hey, Unpeeled's running tryouts. We're looking for a sports reporter. Maybe you give it a shot and we'll see what happens. I go in. I end up doing the tryout. And that was my first real on-air job at CitrusTV. Even though it was in my junior year, I still ended up getting on. And that kind of relighted the fire in me to kind of keep going and pursuing that career of mine. Because it's something I've always wanted to do. And it's something that I promised myself that I really wanted to get into and make a career out of ever since I came to Syracuse. So if I had to really sum up what Unpeeled means for me, it was really my first big break into sports reporting. That ended up making me more comfortable on camera, enjoying myself while I'm actually talking about sports on air and enjoying it with the people around me. And I think that chemistry really showed with every beat and every story that I ended up covering. And I think that really opened the door for me to be as confident as I am on air now, to really say, hey, I can be a sports reporter, and I can not thank Unpeeled enough for that.
And we definitely saw that confidence with segments you did. The one that comes to mind is the Kobe Bryant tribute, which was held with just great professionality. So hats off to you for that. And I know that's probably one of your proudest moments with Unpeeled. Now, if we had to narrow it down to just one, what would you say your proudest work is for Unpeeled?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Kobe one is definitely up there. I mean, I spent probably a week writing that script, making sure it was kind of pinpointed out and, you know, as tasteful as it could possibly be for such a tragic event. But if I had to pick one that I was super proud of, I got to bring it back to kind of what you teased to at the beginning with the WWE segment. I mean, I've always been a huge wrestling fan. You've always been a huge wrestling fan. I've always wanted to try and get some sort of wrestling content on air, and I'm sure you've been the same way. I'll tell you another funny story. My freshman year, I actually had no idea how CitrusTV worked. I thought maybe, you know, sometimes we'll get like guests to come on for the sports department. That'd be cool. So I actually ended up contacting Muso Janaka, the wrestler in Impact Wrestling, everyone knows as Moose, to see if he would try and come on air. So I've always wanted to do something with wrestling, and the fact that I was able to even do it just that one time was awesome. I was really proud I was able to get that on air. I thought that was one of the better segments we did this year. And I think it really showcased what Unpeeled is all about. Yeah, I'm a sports reporter, but at the end of the day, it's an entertainment program, and my job is to be entertaining for everyone watching. And I think we totally accomplished that with that segment.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that I will look back on that segment for years to come because it was just so much fun. I remember pitching it, being like, we need to take this story. I remember you butting in saying, wait, we should do a debate. And then it all came together. Unfortunately, I lost, but at the end of the day, we produced some great content. And I was very proud of that as well. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Now to wrap this up, I feel like we got to talk about just Unpeeled as a whole. And just obviously you guys are graduating, so you're going to be in different newsrooms with different people. What are you going to miss the most about Unpeeled?
Oh my God, definitely the camaraderie. I mean, like I said, I've worked in pretty much every department. I did sports on news in the news department. I worked in sports since my freshman year, and probably the latest one that I ended up working in was entertainment. But I gotta say, those were just some of my favorite people that I worked with. The personalities that you saw on camera Unpeeled are exactly the same, if not more fun off camera. I have met so many fun people doing this. I got to do a couple shows with you, I had great fun with. I got to do it with Landon, who I've known for a long time. I got to do it with my best friend, Justin Paura, who was a host. It was really just the perfect scenario for me to be able to go on camera at CitrusTV. So if I had to say I'm going to miss one thing in particular, as corny as it may sound, I'm going to miss the people that I work with, because they gave me the ability to go out on camera and be the best possible reporter that I could have possibly been. And I cannot thank anyone enough for that.
Mason, I know I speak for everyone at Unpeeled when I say we all appreciate those kind words, but also just everything you've done for Unpeeled. So thank you so much, not only for joining me on the senior show, but for everything you've done. I know that I'm not alone when I say we have no doubt that you're going to do great things in the real world. And yeah, we just thank you for all the hours and dedication you've put into this show.
I really do appreciate that, man. But this definitely isn't goodbye. I'm not a big goodbye person. I'll be back in the 315 sooner or later.
Mason, the joke throughout this entire year was that you took my job as the sports guy. Well, the truth is that you took it and ran with it. I can't wait to see what you do in your future, because Unpeeled, you killed it, and you have a great baseline for your career.
These last couple years, man, we overcame Dancy's 364, had our show on CC together with Max. I mean, just such an absolute blast, man. You've been such a good friend to me. I consider you such a good friend. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for you, my man.
Mason. One fewer Yankee fan at the station. That's a true tragedy in itself. But in all seriousness, thank you for just being such a great guy to work with day in, day out. You were always a fun person to talk about. You have really good memes. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Your memes are very funny.
Mason, stay off the... Kidding. All right, Mason, thank you so much for all that you have done for Unpeeled. You truly are amazing, and you're going to be an awesome sports reporter wherever you go, whether that's for entertainment news or news or sports news. Like, I'm very excited to see what your future has in store for you. Best of luck, my friend.
Mason, you have such a strong work ethic, and all of your awesome ideas have really made the show so much better, and you've really just been a source of inspiration and admiration for a lot of the younger underclassmen. So thank you so much for everything that you've done, and we're going to miss you.
And finally, last but not least, we have our executive producer, Maialie Fitzpatrick, who is also graduating. Maialie has been integral to Unpeeled's success, its evolution, everything in between, but I don't want to say all what she's done for the show. I'll let her talk a bit. Maialie Fitzpatrick. Maialie, thank you so much for joining us on the senior show.
Thanks, Liam. You know, I'm not really used to being in front of the camera. This was weird for me.
Well, nonetheless, we do have to find out just everything that Unpeeled really means to you. So I want to start with that. What does Unpeeled and just everything about Citrus TV mean to you?
Well, I would say that Unpeeled just simply means everything to me, especially during my 4 years during college. I dedicated so much time to the show because not only did I believe in the content that we were making, but I also believe in every single person on our team and who we work with. They're super talented. They're going to go so far, and I am super proud of them. But basically, I really do feel like Unpeeled specifically at Citrus TV gives people who didn't originally get the opportunity a voice and a seat at the table.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Honestly, I remember when I first joined Unpeeled, I wanted to be in sports, and then Unpeeled gave me an opportunity to be on air, and here we are a year later. It's pretty crazy. And Unpeeled, it's one of those shows that every week you're making new memories and you're making new relationships and everything. What has been your favorite memory from Unpeeled?
So my favorite memory is kind of bittersweet. I would say that my favorite Unpeeled memory has to be the last in-studio show of the semester. We weren't sure that it was going to be our last. That's when everything was a little bit up in the air, but we just wanted to prepare just in case. So we had a lot of camaraderie during that post-show meeting, and it was really heartwarming for me specifically to hear everyone speak about how Unpeeled changed their lives. And it was really in that moment that I truly recognized and understood how much this show means to every single person on this team and not just me.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to talk about with Unpeeled is not only what's happened recently, but what's happened in the past. People may not know, but yourself and Jess Maggio, who graduated last year, really reformed the show completely. And I know you mentioned before this that happened to be your proudest work. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so I am so proud to be part of the team that was able to turn this show a completely 180. Not that Unpeeled before wasn't just as amazing, but it was ready. The show was ready for some change. And I still remember me and Jess Maggio, we went into New York City and we sat at a Mexican restaurant and we just spitballed ideas on how to make this show so much better. We talked about content, we talked about a different format, we talked about on-air expectations, and it was from that initial meeting that everything really kind of came together. And I can truly say that over those tacos, I was not thinking that this was going to be some monumental moment, that it was going to make this show 100% so much better. All I could think about was how full I was. But truly, now looking back, that was when we made this show great. We turned it from being good to fantastic.
And I don't remember personally the version 1 of Unpeeled because it was before my time, but the show that it's evolved into now is literally one of the best studio shows at Citrus. It flows well, it gives people opportunities, it gives people a voice with the beat reporter positions and everything. And now I don't want to get too emotional, but I feel like we have to address this question. Unpeeled has a lot that we look forward to every week. What are you going to miss most about the show?
Well, that's a very hard question because I think I'm going to miss everything about it, but I'll try to be a little bit more specific. I'm going to miss working with such a fantastic team, both in front and behind the camera. That was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get to work with such talented people, and I'm truly going to miss that. I'm going to miss that feeling of nailing a show after a week's worth of effort was put into it, at that post-show meeting. And I feel like everyone is very familiar with me. I have a huge smile on my face and I walk in there and I'm like, you did a good job. You did a good job. Gonna miss that. I'm going to miss the chaos in the newsroom before we go on air, because even though it feels like everything is falling apart in that moment, it's so exciting. And then I'm really going to miss that 10-second countdown before we start recording. I don't know if I'll ever get that same rush that that was able to give me, but I'm going to miss everything. I'm going to miss everything from start to end of producing this show.
It sounds like a lot of great memories. I mean, I'm glad to have been a part of a lot of them, a lot of just little aspects about Unpeeled. It's something I miss with everything being in quarantine now. I'm definitely looking forward to getting back to the studio. But I do want to wrap up with a question looking towards the future. Unpeeled has taught everyone who's been involved, whether you just run a crew position or you're executive producing the show, it's taught you something about not only just the broadcast industry, but just about life in general. How has Unpeeled impacted whatever career you choose to pursue?
Yeah, so I'm not fully sure what I want to do when I'm older. I know that I want to start in the mailroom, but basically Unpeeled shows me that in whatever career that I end up pursuing, that I want to work in a fast-paced work environment. When I'm looking for my jobs, I know I mentioned just earlier how that 10-second countdown really gives me a rush, so I do want to work in an environment like that. But most importantly, it's showed me how much I value teamwork and the ability to collaborate with others in my next job. That's super important to me, because Unpeeled showed me that you can't get anywhere far only by yourself, but rather it's the opinions and it's the different perspectives that others bring to the table that can take something good and make it great. So that is something that's really important to me, and Unpeeled is what taught me that.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of great lessons learned from Unpeeled, and a lot of things I'm sure we're all going to miss. Maialie Fitzpatrick, our final interview of the day, our final senior. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for everything you've done for Unpeeled.
Thank you. I'm going to miss you all.
I want to thank Maialie for being such a great teacher and a mentor all year long during the show. You were always welcoming my questions and always welcoming me to learn more about the show, and it was super helpful, and I really appreciated it. We're going to miss you.
Thank you so much for everything you've done with Unpeeled, along with just giving me my first on-air position at Citrus as the film beat way back, for being part of changing the environment and the culture at Unpeeled to something that's really chill, like a family environment.
Something I'm really gonna miss about you is just how open you always were to my ideas and anything that I wanted to pursue, and I'm just really thankful to have gotten to know you, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for being the best producer I could have possibly asked for.
Really so grateful for the opportunities that you have given me, and I'm going to miss you so much next year. Best of luck.
Maialie, the head honcho, you have done so much for Unpeeled throughout your entire tenure, and you put the show in such a good position going forward. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for Unpeeled.
Congratulations, Maialie, and thank you for everything you've done for me, for taking a chance on me with Unpeeled. I'll never forget that. Thanks, Maialie. Congrats.
Maialie, thank you so much for everything that you've done with the show. It has come leaps and bounds with you on board, and I'm so happy to have learned so much from you. Don't worry, you're leaving the show in good hands. I'll miss you so much when you're gone, and good luck in the future.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I cannot thank you guys enough.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for everything that you've done with the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're going to miss you so much.
From all of us at Unpeeled, thank you.